Hey everybody, welcome to the Bearded Blurred Brothers podcast.
What up?
I'm your boy Gary,
I'm Big O.
and today we got a very fun episode on tap. Before we get started and jump in, how you doing, my brother?
I'm blessed, man. I can't complain. Feeling good. Really excited about this episode, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good myself, man. I'm really excited for this also. This is one I've been kind of antsy for ever since I saw it. So for those of you who see the title, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or on YouTube, you see that we're going to be doing the Blacktastic Four.
Yeah.
Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. I found this on Twitter. A guy I follow, his Twitter handle is at 10comics. 10_comics.
Shout out.
He has a Kickstarter out that I would love for y'all to follow. He does great work. I highly support him. And he came up with the topic. I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty dope because it's something different from what you would normally see.
Right.
Because typically, especially with, the Fantastic Four coming into the MCU now, so many people wanting to fan cast the Fantastic Four with like Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, Ben Grimm, the Thing, and Human Torch.
Right.
And we've seen a few race bends for that. We have a black Sue Storm, we got a black Johnny Storm, we got a black Thing, a black Mr. Fantastic. And it's
like you almost said Johnny Cage.
I almost did. But we've seen that so much, really over the last few. I really want to say over the last few months since the Fantastic Four has been talked about more heavily.
Yeah.
And while that would be cool, this idea I think was even better. So I'm gonna read the tweet, and then we'll go from there. And I'll let you start out.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
So the tweet was, "We could easily create an all-black Avengers or X-Men team with past and present members." That's accurate.
Right.
But which four characters would you pick if you were putting together a Blacktastic Four for Marvel?
Okay.
So,
okay.
give us your four characters and kind of tell me your thought process on picking them.
Okay. So I'll start with my thought process. I was thinking about each individual character's like their characteristics, their like personality profiles. Are they all brawn and brain, or all brawn, all brain, balance, things like that. So with that being said,
Okay.
here's my list for
Here we go.
my Blacktastic Fantastic Four. For Mr. Fantastic, Black Panther.
Nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah, like he's a natural leader, master strategist. He's a king, if you didn't know, now you know.
Right.
But why wouldn't you know? That's a whole other thing.
Respect the king.
Respect the king. Put some respect on his name. But yeah, I just really thought about, with his intellect and, again, how much of a strategist, master strategist he is, prep guide, like he's always prepared for something.
And people talk about Batman.
Bruh. We should, we'll talk after this. This gave me another idea. So for Sue Storm.
I like it.
I picked her because, like, even if you want to write it to where they're married, which I would still prefer, where they're still together, or unmarried, or whatever, with the events of Civil War. Right. Storm she don't need saving, man. Like she's not. She doesn't have that damsel in distress attitude or personality. Sue Storm, I don't think she has it like that, but sometimes I was just like, okay, like this is clearly to make Johnny Shine or Reed or whatever, but I digress. So moving on, for Johnny Storm, I picked Miles Morales.
I like it.
He's like, I think he would bring the humorous aspect to the team, where he's like, he's still a kid, he's still a youngin or whatever, but when it's grind time, he shows up and he shows out. Right. And I think he could also be like a really big hard hitter. With the Venom Blast and his spider strength and things like that, he could really like balance out the team as like a secondary strength source.
I agree with that.
Now this one for the Thing, I think you'll really like this. I picked my boy Blue Marvel.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, like you want strength, he got strength.
Strength on strength. That's probably one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir. And I also picked him because aside from the strength, he could also be another set of brains too. Like him and Black Panther would work together so well. They would like, ain't nobody finna roll up on them. Ain't nobody finna sneak up on that Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I look at that list, that Fantastic Four with T'Challa, Black Panther, Ororo, Monroe, Storm, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Adam Brashear, Blue Marvel. I look at that as a team that could do exactly what the current Fantastic Four does. Handle stuff on Earth, but also go cosmic.
So exactly,
and that's something that when I was thinking about the Blacktastic Four, that was important as well, because you got to have that ability to go and handle stuff that a typical Avengers team would handle, or a typical X-Men team would handle. That's something that I don't think a lot of people realize about the Fantastic Four. They're 4 people, but they can handle like really big threats.
Yeah. So
I love your list, man.
Appreciate it.
I think you adding Adam Brashear in at the end is kind of sealed for me for sure. Like I was always going to roll with it, but Adam Brashear at the end just sold it for me for sure.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. Let's hear. Man, I'm ready. Let's hear your list. This is gonna be good. I can't wait.
So I had a feeling when I saw this question on Twitter that people would choose those characters, specifically T'Challa, and Miles Morales, because like they are easily the staples of Black comic book nerddom.
Yes, sir, they are.
So I wanted to kind of go a little different and choose characters that I think will work well together, but also I wanted to go kind of like an Avengers type team, but Fantastic Four style.
Got you.
So for Reed, I wanted to go someone that would kind of match his intelligence level, but in a different way. So I went with Black Goliath.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Him and Hank Pym neck and neck when it comes to intelligence level.
Yeah,
and Hank and Reed are about the same intelligence level. So I'm like, I love that. Plus, he's also a pretty big physical force as well, which is something that people don't give enough credit to Reed for. Reed, his ability to stretch and really use his brains to stretch in ways that can physically outmaneuver somebody is something that's underrated. Black Goliath's ability to get really large, as well as just overcome with just pure strength, while using his intelligence, underrated abilities, and something that I really enjoyed about his character. I loved him in the Civil War story.
Fire.
Yeah.
Straight fire.
Now, the difference I'm going with mine is I'm not going to have the Reed and Sue composites be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I'm going with someone relatively young, and that's Ironheart.
You know what? I started to pick her too. That's fun.
So
that's
I was torn between her and Moon Girl.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I didn't choose Moon Girl was because I wanted someone who could build things And that's something that people don't give Sue enough credit for.
They
It's
don't.
her ability to be really on the same level when it comes to engineering and creating things like Reed.
Yeah.
So Ironheart's ability to be that intelligent is something that I really wanted to do. Plus, I mean, you get to see Goliath and Ironheart working together.
Yeah, that was
That sells itself. So
That's
for my
dope.
Johnny, this one was fun because it was like immediately I saw the connection. I was like, yes. So with Johnny, his thing is you really don't know how powerful he can be because he can get as hot
That
or hotter
supernova.
than the sun.
Yep.
But then not only that, like he's been able to do like some incredible feats throughout the comics.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get someone who could do some pretty impressive feats, but not be too OP.
Yeah.
Cloak.
Bruh. Why didn't I think of Cloak?
Cloak was one immediately. He was my first thought after Niles for Johnny because I love his character, and I really fell in love with his character after watching the Cloak and Dagger show.
The show was
which
so
y'all should
good.
watch if you haven't watched it. It's on Disney Plus, and I believe it's on Hulu.
Yes, do yourself a favor
Right.
and watch it.
But yeah, Cloak, his ability just to be able to get the entire team out of a sticky situation at a moment's notice, underrated. His ability to honestly be a pretty solid hand-to-hand combatant too, underrated.
You know, and that's something I don't think people they don't credit characters like that enough.
Right.
I think because obviously the selling point for the character is typically their like supernatural powers or their abilities, but you got those few times where those are taken away or they're broken down a bit, and it's like, okay, now this character has to fight,
Exactly.
But good pick, man.
Appreciate it.
Really good pick.
And something else that people don't realize when it comes to the comparison with Cloak and Johnny is their intelligence. They're not like geniuses in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But they have ingenuity and they have creativity on their side that makes them intelligent enough to work in certain situations.
Right.
And that's something I wanted to add to this team. I consider Cloak to be somewhat like my wild card, like Johnny is for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good pick.
The easiest pick of all for me, Ben Grimm.
What we got?
If anybody know me, y'all already know who I'm about to say. My boy Luke Cage.
Let's go!
It was a no-brainer, man. Luke Cage and Ben Grimm are so similar in many aspects.
They are. I started to pick Luke, but I, like you with Cloak, I wanted a wild card in that Braun area because Blue people don't really think about Blue Marvel like that until he's brought up, and then it's like, oh snap! Like this dude he's a problem.
He is.
But Luke,
and that's the thing that
Luke get down, man.
And the thing that I like about adding Luke to the list for me is something that's highly underrated that people don't give him credit for, and he is literally the Black Captain America.
He is.
I don't know if you read Devil's Reign. I think it was Chip Zdarsky's.
I have to check that out.
It's a really good series. I might send you those comics that I got
for sure.
But in that series, Wilson Fisk was the mayor, was the mayor of New York, and it was election time, and he had been using the Purple Man to brainwash all of New York to vote for him.
Right.
And they were going to try to find a way, and Captain America was like, Daredevil had tried to get the Avengers to go with him to attack Wilson Fisk and get the Purple Man or whatever. And all of that was failing, and Luke was just like, this isn't going to work if we just keep going with our fists.
Right.
We got to find another way to win. And he literally, in like the first issue, because some crazy stuff was happening, the city of New York was under martial law, and superheroes were outlawed from using their abilities and stuff.
Wow.
Luke Cage stood up and gave this phenomenal speech talking about how New Yorkers, they don't just bow down to tyrants. They don't
Yeah.
fall back and let people bully them. And
Right.
he was like, this same thing for us superheroes. We're not going to just sit back and let Wilson Fisk bully us into submission.
Yeah.
And just reading that speech and seeing him stand with his daughter and Jessica Jones right beside him, and how everyone really just followed him and was on every word that he gave, was just beautiful, man. And it just makes me love Luke Cage every
Even
time I think
more.
about it because of how
Yeah.
good he was. But the thing that really made me choose him, as easy as it was when they brought up the idea of someone running against Wilson Fisk for the position of mayor. Tony was like, well, I guess I can do it. I wouldn't be an issue for me. And everyone just kind of looked at Tony like, you sure about that? But Luke kind of was like, I think it should be me. And no one batted an eye. Danny Rand, which I love Danny Rand in the comics because he's so wise and he's so level-headed.
Yeah.
He was just like, it makes sense. You're the most respected hero in New York. And not only that, the people respect you and care and love you. So
Right.
it just makes sense. Tony was about to try to fight him against it, and Luke was just standing there. And literally, it took Steve coming up to Tony and being like, Tony, it's
Back down,
true.
bro.
Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be a good candidate. It would be better if it was someone that was more on their level.
Yeah.
So I did that whole long monologue
Wow.
to talk about why Luke Cage should be the leader of the Blacktastic Four for me.
I have to. What was the name of that one again? That run?
It's called Devil's Reign. It's
Devil's
a
Reign,
6-issue comic. It has like 4 or 5 tie-in comics with it, as
Okay.
Marvel loves to do.
Right.
I have the 6 issues, but if you want, I also have Marvel Unlimited. I'll give you my login and you can read it on there
Oh,
too.
right on, man. Appreciate it.
Bet. No problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love our list.
That man, your list is fire. Like that's straight heat, and I can really see, the synergy amongst the team. Especially like with bringing like the younger, like kind of newer characters
Yeah,
into the mix. Because I kind of went the veteran route with my team, just because I think I was more so focusing on experience. So like if there is a Galactus threat or a Galactus level threat, you've got Black Panther who's dealt with, that kind of thing several times over, Storm with the X-Men, even Blue Marvel, and while Miles, maybe not as much, he's dealt with those kind of things, but he's
been in a lot of events.
Exactly, and he would still be a really great asset to the team, and kind of essentially a wild card too, because of the way he views things as as his Spider-Man, younger Spider-Man self. So
right, and that's the thing I like about your list. I feel like your list is one where it's easy to see them coming together.
Yeah.
And forming a team, because I could easily see because if I'm correct, T'Challa and Adam Brashear are on the Defenders' most current run.
They are.
So that would easily be one thing that, brings them two together. And then I could see T'Challa kind of talking Storm into coming along and trying to mend that relationship. And then Miles, I just feel like he would really look up to either T'Challa or Adam Brashear and want to kind of jump in as well. So I could easily see your team coming together. My team, I can see it coming together, but I think it would be a little bit more work. I think Cloak would probably be the hardest one to get.
Yeah, he would be.
Just because he's so tied to Dagger. Like, they're kind of like connected to the hip. But I can see a situation where maybe Dagger either died or was stuck in like another dimension or whatever. And he couldn't access it. But other than that, yeah, man, I love these lists that we got.
Yes,
and
sir.
I wanted to ask you before I jumped into mine.
Yeah.
But who's your honorable mention character that you wanted to add to your list that you didn't
honestly so I actually have a couple.
Okay.
One of which, Ironheart was one. I kind of was struggling between her and Miles.
Right.
But I think Miles, with him being a little more experienced,
Hmm.
especially with like his experience with like the other Avengers, especially
Right.
Peter Parker, because
Right.
he's been, a part of, so many Avengers teams and
Hmm.
done his own thing, like even like classic stuff against the Sinister Six and Venom and
Yeah.
Carnage and whatnot. Um, and after her, I had two actually, War Machine and Blade.
Okay, I like both of those. I like both of
Yeah,
those.
because War Machine, I was thinking about, and it actually kind of was an end game. Actually, kind of got me thinking about it. I rewatched it recently, and that alien tech suit that he had, you seen it, but like we didn't see it after that.
Right.
We seen him
We really
like
did.
show up, but
Yeah. He ain't do nothing.
yeah, like dude, the alien tech suit is like. Let me see if I could compare it to something. It's it's like kind of OP, but I think because it's War Machine, they kind of like water it down a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely nerf
But
it.
yeah, if it was Tony or Iron Man, or whatever, we would definitely see like the full extent. Like it would probably
Right.
be, a world buster level suit or something like that. But
Exactly.
and then Blade, I was thinking about as, I guess, kind of more of the wild card backup.
Hmm.
Um, because like they could even have like Blade's daughter show up.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
I was thinking about that, and I just love Blade. Like I would just love to see more of him in like anything.
Yeah.
I can't wait till that movie is like here.
They started production a couple weeks ago.
Okay, yes, good,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
yes,
That
sir.
has me excited. I want to read more Blade myself.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions, I was gonna say I only had one, but I
Mhm.
had, as you was talking, I was like, crap, actually I got two. My first one was going to be the initial wild card,
Mhm.
or Sue Storm,
Mhm.
depending on who I chose, but Moon Girl, as I said before.
Right.
And she has a show that's on Disney Plus now, and I plan on
That's
watching it.
right. I do need to check that out.
She is, and it's not even close at this point, she is the smartest person in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
So I was going to choose her, but then I thought about it. I was like, if I'm going with Black Goliath, I wouldn't need to have someone on that intelligence level. Even
Yeah.
though it would be dope, but it would just be like, it'll be OP.
It would
They'd
be.
be real unstoppable. Like it
Yeah.
wouldn't matter who else you had because it'd just be two super intelligent people.
Yeah.
And then my other honorable mention for really the wild card aspect would have been Brother Voodoo.
You know what? Why didn't I think of him?
So I saw a lot
That
of
would have
people
been
on Twitter
fire.
talking about him, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know a lot about Brother Voodoo. I
Hmm.
know he's a very powerful magician in the Marvel Universe,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's on Doctor Strange level.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
I think he's
say.
close.
Yeah, I think he's like maybe like just under.
Yeah, so I would definitely want to see him on a Blacktastic Four type team.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't know how he would fit with the way that I had planned the team to be already. I think if
Yeah.
we did like a all Mystic team, I think he would definitely be one of the
Yeah.
first on the list, or
Definitely.
chose a few other different people. But yeah, he was definitely
Right.
an honorable mention for me.
I like that. If I'm not mistaken, I would have to fact check it. I
Hmm.
know there was once an idea. We were supposed to see Brother Voodoo in the MCU. I want to say it was either Black Panther or a cameo in Luke Cage, I believe.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
it was.
that would have been dope.
Yeah, because I can't remember. I might have seen it on It might have been Twitter when I was on there. It was one of those articles just kind of floating around like a rumor mill kind of thing. They were gonna like have like a cameo to where from what I read, I think it was just gonna be a cameo of like, this like random new character is like put into the spotlight, but he's somebody important, but you don't know exactly who, kind of thing.
Makes sense.
For them to later be like, oh, maybe even in Blade he could show up. I could see that.
He would be perfect in Blade.
Yeah.
Or I really wish they would have had him in Doctor Strange too.
That would have made the most sense too.
Especially if they would have changed the story, because I don't think the Multiverse of Madness story was what we were supposed to originally get. But yeah, I love our list. I love our honorable mentions.
Yes, sir.
So before we close out, you want to give the people a taste of what we're going to be talking about next week?
Yeah, man. So next week we are going to switch it up. We're going to be discussing. We're going to have an episode on mental health. We'll have a very special guest on. I'll leave that up as a surprise.
I can't give too much away.
Yeah. I gotta bait y'all a little bit. Yeah, man. I just kind of want to talk about mental health because, like the comics and things like that are great, but they're, aside from them being a really big interest for us, they also serve as kind of a escape from reality.
Exactly.
We need that. There's nothing wrong with, loving comics or anime or, movies, anything like that. But, just want to kind of check in with people and just kind of share some mental health tips and information, just to kind of, check in with one another and check in with ourselves. Yeah. We don't do that a lot. I know I don't.
Exactly. It's very important. And I think with us being a podcast that's specifically targeted towards blurs,
we need that.
It's something that we need to really talk about because, as you and I both know, being in the Black community, mental health is not talked about enough.
It's not.
And it's extremely detrimental that we really increase that conversation and make it to where things like going to therapy or taking mental health days and things like that are seen as normalized and not seen as taboo like they are now.
Exactly. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about that. I just think we, like you just said, man, I think we need to get more into that space of discussing mental health, checking in with one another, especially and kind of specifically us as Black men, checking in with one another doesn't make you any less of a man to check on a brother, your homeboy, or anything like that. We need to start normalizing things like that.
I completely agree with you.
So yeah, that'll be next week's episode.
Nice. Well, this has been another phenomenal episode of the BBB, Bearded Blurred Brothers.
Yes, sir.
Love talking with you as always.
Likewise, brother.
I hope everyone has a phenomenal week, and thank y'all for listening.
Peace.